Greetings, Exiles. Slinky here with an update on how to craft this wand. We're going to essentially go through the process of how to make the Instacker wand, at least like the base level version, and then kind of ideally I'll try to do more of an in-game version of it, but we'll see how it goes. So we're gonna try to craft this thing, but a little bit better. But if we hit something similar to this, that's fine for the purposes. But we're gonna go over a couple of different steps. So we'll start with over here. There are 3 wand bases or influences that you can technically use. You only need to use 2 of the 3. Which 2 of the 3 you want to use depends on if you care about the influences. Like, for instance, if you're using the new Bound by Destiny jewel, they give different benefits based on how many influences you have on your stuff. If you're playing Instacker, you're definitely going to want the Crusader influence, but you can get this on your amulet typically and rings. That's usually the best slots for it, so you don't need to worry about that. But for the other ones, you have Shaper, Elder, and Hunter are the 3 bases you can use for the wand. I personally don't like these modifiers. I mean, we don't do spell damage. We don't block. We don't take reflected elemental damage already because of Awakened elemental damage with attacks. And then if you look at the further ones down here, this is okay, but not that great. We don't do a lot of fizz damage, so not a lot to transfer over, and it's just a tank node. But I do like not here, but like this node. Elemental damage taken as chaos is really good when we're CI. Also, you can technically get movement speed here, which is pretty decent. And then the attacks have a increased base crit of like 1 point or whatever it is. These are all good things for our build. And then down here, you can even have more attribute increases. Can't be stunned is okay, but apply curse is a damage buff. For instance, if you get like another curse added on, or additional projectile is also really great. These can be very expensive to get all those exact modifiers. I currently settled with, I have the intelligence, I have the attacks, and then I have the additional curse, and I bought it for like 30 divine. But like I said, if you want to future-proof your build a little bit, think about that as you're crafting this wand. I will show kind of how the bases look on pathofexile. So we're looking currently at one-handed wands. If you go down to the bases, you can see one of the modifiers we're chasing right here is a Shaper one. It's lightning damage added per weapon per intelligence. Its weighting is a 0.113. If you scroll down to Hunter, Hunter has that same modifier, and it's also 0.113. So you can technically roll about the same amount of difficulty on both Hunter and Shaper for that modifier. Cool thing about Hunter is it also has the spell damage modifier at 0.113, which is a little low. This is the same modifier that you can get on the Elder wand, though. So, and Elder is actually easier to hit. So Elder is a 0.226. So it's about double the percent chance to hit this. If you end up clicking on this to add it, you can even like go to alteration up here and see how many alterations. See, average tries 509 versus, let's say, if we were to remove this and we go do the same modifier on Hunter, which I didn't go far enough down, right here, we were at like 509 I think before, and now we're at 955. So yeah, a little bit harder to hit that modifier on Hunter. So my goal currently is to have one wand be an Elder influence to hit the spell damage one, and then I'll have the other one to be a Hunter influence to hit the lightning damage thing. But use whatever one you need to do. Like I said, if you want to do Shaper, that's fine. This will be the search we'll be using. It'll be right here. Things to call out. This should actually say Hunter influence in here, so I'll make sure to save that in the future. You pick out which influences you need. You want 1 maximum influence, and I put this in here because I don't want to get the minion wands because it adds more mods to the pool. So we don't worry about that. We need to be at least 68 because 68 is the base level for getting the modifiers on pretty much all of them, as you can see. So you want to be at least base 68. I put no fracture because you can't influence fracture in the first place. So, but no mirror, no corruption. Also, you can craft on stuff. And then the only last note I'll have is you definitely want 1 base. You're buying 2 bases. You want 1 base to be an imbued wand because that's because with the craft method we're using, we're going to destroy a base and we're putting it on the influence onto an existing base. So with that said, we want 1 to be an imbued wand. What you would do is you would just search for this. We'll pick the 2 modifiers you want. For instance, if you don't want Shaper, click on off Shaper. And then you can go through here. And like I said, you just buy the cheapest one possible. Any of these would work. Like I said, they're 6, as long as they're higher level and they have the influence, one of the influences, and you only want 1 influence, but we have that set in our filters. You want to buy any of these bases. So doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. just buy the base. If you care, you can buy a higher quality one. The best quality you need would be 24 if you're trying to do the Harvest Craft. But as you can see, this is pretty rough. What I recommend for if you're trying to buy a higher quality base is to actually just buy a no influence one. Sorry, just put this at 0, like this. Yeah, so just buy at least 24 quality one of an imbued wand, and then you can apply with an exalted orb, like an Elder's Exalted Orb or a Hunter's Exalted Orb. You can apply the influence that way if you want to get a 24 quality one. But if you don't want to, if you want to do a base level 21, that's also okay. You don't have to do the extra steps. So yeah, so you want to buy one of these, relatively cheap. I don't need to buy any because I already have the bases, so I'll show you. But essentially, you buy one of these, then if you buy the Elder one, you'll take off the Elder influence, and you're like, okay, now I need to buy. And once you buy your imbued wand, you just need any other wand. It doesn't have to be imbued for the second base. It could be any other wand. So you take off that, and you could literally buy this Demon's Horn right here, and it's fine. So you just need one base that's an imbued wand, and then the other base could be any other wand, just has the different influence on it. Cool. So we're gonna get into like some to the in-game stuff. So like I said, I already have the base. I have this base right here, which is an 85 Hunter Influence Crystal Wand. And then I have this base that I had split previously with no influence on it, but it's 29 quality. Once again, you only need 24 because if you read the Harvest enchantment, you get 1 attack speed per 8 intelligence. You can only go up to 24 quality for getting that benefit. You can't go up to 32. So this is a little bit overkill, but we did it anyway. But since this has no influence, I already had this, but you can buy an Elder's Exalted Orb. I'm just going to go ahead and we'll have to make this rare first. We'll make this rare. And then we're gonna Elder's Exalted Orb this to make this influenced. So now you see that, there you go. Now you can see the influences on there. And now for the super fun part, which is the nightmare of rolling for the modifier. There are a couple different ways to do this. For instance, if you want to buy the bases off like the trade website, people do profit craft these to where they'll give you just the magic base for like usually like 2 divines maybe, or maybe a little bit more depending on that. So if you don't want to go through the effort of having to spam alterations, you can just buy the magic base off of the trade website, and save yourself some time if you want to spend the extra money kind of stuff. But we will go through the spamming method. Ideally, you're looking for the one modifier from that base. So this one, we're looking for the spell damage per intelligence. And you want the other modifier to not be an influenced modifier. If it's an influenced modifier, then you have to essentially risk it with an annul, because otherwise when you use the later crafting step, it will choose a random modifier to do it. So we're going to go ahead and spam this. I like to put intelligence here. This will only show the modifier and the flat intelligence gain, so you will get baited a little bit sometimes. But yeah, and now we're just going to do this for about an hour. Remember, this is the easier one to hit, supposedly. So we're just going to do this until essentially it lights up. And then hopefully it's not the flat modifier. If it is, we'll just keep on rolling. And now we're just doing this. See, it lights up with the flat intelligence, but we're looking for the intelligence per spell damage mod. We'll keep on going. If you're lucky, the last time I crafted this, I got both modifiers in 400 alterations. If you're unlucky, someone else in my chat crafted and they didn't hit a modifier to like 4,000 alterations. So, but you should on average hit this one in 500 and the other one within like 1,000 on average. Just doesn't mean that you will. Just means that typically that is what is expected. But as we know in this chat, everything's 50-50. Every click is 50-50. Either you hit it or you don't. Hey, there it is. Okay, so we hit it on the first. We got this one. So the important thing here is that you want to have the modifier by itself as far as the influence. So how it says prefix modifier the elders. We don't want a second of the elders, right? So this is fine because L1's bleakness. That's okay. But if it said like, if the suffix also said like elders, then we would have to annul. But we're good here. This is actually, so we're finished with this version of the wand. Now for the annoying one, because this is the easier one to hit. We're doing this one now. We hit that one at about 200, which is below average. So yay, let's hope we hit this one in below average as well. That'd be really cool, chat. No, it's the wrong one. It's the wrong one. It hit the one I already have. I needed to hit the lightning damage. No. I hate it. I hate it here. I hate it here. Rolling over it. Definitely could probably sold that for profit and bought another one and tried it over again. But we're not doing that. We're recording a video. We're not making trades. Now I get baited by 2 different modifiers than the one I'm looking for. That's unfortunate. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. Give me the lightning damage modifier. you son of a bitch. But you totally can click faster, but once again, I'm old. I don't trust myself not to overclick it. So even though it highlights, I'm still taking it a little bit slow to try to prevent myself from clicking too much and rolling over the modifier by accident, because it is, like I said, typically harder to hit. Even though I hit the other one that's equally as hard twice already. But yeah, make sure if you're buying the bases, make sure you're not buying one that has an extra influence modifier. Baj. If you have the extra influence modifier, you might have to risk the annul. My brain froze for a little bit. After a while of alteration spamming, my brain starts to slow down because I start to zone out. I think it's ADHD. Oh! Hey, we hit it! Okay, so one hunter influence. Okay, so right. But yeah, so we got our 2 hits. We want the one with the lightning damage with attacks per intelligence, and we want the one spell damage per intelligence. On the other wand, you want to make sure that they are the influence modifier is only 1 on a wand. So like this is 1 elders. The other modifier is not an elder modifier, so that's fine. This is 1 hunters. The other modifier is not a hunter, so that's fine. If you have, like for instance, if it was a hunter mod and another hunter mod, you have to risk the annul to get the other modifier off. Because when you do the next step, you're essentially taking the influence from one thing and putting on the other one. It'll pick a random influence to take with it. You might pick the wrong one by accident. So just keep that in mind if you end up hitting it. I didn't. I got lucky, so that's great. Cool. Well, the next step you're going to need is you're going to want an Awakeners Orb. So Awakeners Orb, essentially what it does is it destroys an item, and then it implies its influence to another item of the same class. And the second item is reforged, whatnot. So that's why I said you want one thing, your base, to be 1. You want definitely an imbued wand. That's your base you want to keep. The other one doesn't matter because we're going to destroy this one. So it doesn't matter what the base is as long as it's a wand. And we're going to destroy this wand, and we're going to put the influence onto this thing. So take this, click the first one you want to destroy. I want to destroy this one first. And then you're going to put the influence onto this one. And then there you go. Now you have both modifiers on there. Unfortunately, we did not get lucky. And we filled our prefixes. So technically here, for most people, what you would want to do, and honestly, I might just do it just to show it. What most people you'd want to do is you just want to clean your suffixes with which we'll do, and then you craft your suffixes on. If you want to risk it, if you want to go for the better version of the wand, like if you're like if you already have like this wand and you're trying to make the better version, and you have like the extra currency, I can talk about that part. But I'm going to show the part for hey, you're crafting your first wand, you don't have a lot of currency, you want to just get the 2 mods and get going. We're going to show that part first. So what you want to do here is this is going to cost 4 divines. You want prefixes can't be changed. That way it protects your prefixes. And you want to craft it. I should have brought over my currency, but then you want to scour it. And that will wipe off all your suffixes. So then next, you want to go over here. You want to craft. And you want to hit, can't have up to 3 crafted modifiers with another 2 divines. So it's be 4 divines to do this craft at this point, plus whatever you already paid for the other stuff. So you hit that, and then now you can craft on your suffixes. You want attack speed, and you want the one right here that gives that's cost an exalt. It's 11 to 13%. You don't want to do the lower one, so you want that. And then you want the critical strike chance. This is important. You want to grab the one that is the hybrid that costs an exalt. You don't want to do just a general critical strike chance up here. You want to do the one down here. It's less critical strike chance, but because you're an instacker, adding the extra intelligence is really helpful as well. So you want to do this one down here, cost an exalt, and then boom, you are now pretty much done. That's the wand craft. That's it. You can add more other stuff on. For instance, if I don't have the juice, but right now I have to buy the juice, but you can put on for 5,000 yellow juice the 1% attack speed per 8 quality, and that'll put you similar to here. And then you're pretty much done. And then that's your wand. That's it. That's the wand craft. The harder part for people who are trying to go for not their starter in stacking wand, who want to go for like the improvement wand, is if you fill your prefixes like we did, we have the fire damage to spells, you have to annul off that prefix. The risk is I don't know of a way to safely remove that without risking the other spell damage stuff, like your 2 other modifiers. And if you hit one of those 2 modifiers, you got to start all the way back over, just all the way back over. I think that I will not do that for this video, just because we didn't hit it, and I don't want to risk it and have to do a whole video of me spamming ults over it again. I think what I'm going to do for the future video of doing the better craft thing is I'll make a second one, a video where I already have the no prefix on there, and I'll just link the videos together kind of thing. But this is it for the starter wand. This is how you craft it. It'll be perfect. This, you can go for this. Like I said, you can craft on the attack speed thing for a little bit more damage if you want to. I just don't have the juice. I can go buy it if I want to. But yeah, that's it. That's the wand craft. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments below or show up on my streams. I'm always happy to help people with stuff. But this is everything you need to know. All right. Bye.